Oh, hey guys! You've tuned in to Kristi Grider Week here on the Boston Chris podcast. Oh my gosh, what an incredible conversation that we had this week with Miss Kristi Grider. Just an incredibly insightful, intriguing, and educational episode. If you are into songwriting, if you're into vocals, if you're into just the world of putting music out and the shapes of it, the nuts and bolts, so to speak, of the music process, from harmonies, from songwriting, from studio work. So much stuff goes into this episode with Miss Kristi Grider today. Before we get into all of that, though, I want you guys to do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. That helps us do more. If you do enjoy this episode, go ahead and decide, or please consider, rather, hitting that subscribe or follow button wherever you are. And, of course, I want you guys to comment down below your favorite part of this episode. And without any further ado, let me tell you a little bit about Miss Kristi Grider. Kristi Grider, born and raised in the heart of the Texas Hill Country, Kristi's honest songwriting and emotional vocals never fail to connect with her audience. She is the wife and singing partner to Josh Grider, Texas country singer and songwriter. She's so much more than that. She has studied music performance at Baylor. She plays piano and guitar and has been making her livelihood with music for over 20 years. Kristi is also known as the quintessential harmony singer, and you can hear her background vocals on many, many Texas country albums produced by Walt Wilkins. She's performed at Billy Bob's in Fort Worth, the Rock Box Theater, the Tobin Center, Green Hall, the Odeon Theater, the Brontex, the Aztec Theater, the Schermerhorn Symphony Center, St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City, and even the White House. She's also teaching piano, ukulele, and voice lessons from her private home in New Braunfels. And we're so excited once again to get into it with Kristi today. What a phenomenal, phenomenal human being and artist. And so much intriguing stuff in this episode. I hope you guys will hang out with us for the next hour or so. And without any further ado, let's get into it with Miss Kristi Grider on the Boston Chris Show.
It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. Until we all lose connection.
Hey, this is Matt James from Blacktop Mojo, and thank you for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.
Hey guys, I'm so stoked to have Miss Kristi Grider here today on the Boston Chris podcast. Man, I've been a fan of yours and your husband's and the Topo Chico Cowboys and Drew Kennedy and just the whole scene for as long as I can remember. And when you dropped that EP earlier this year, I don't think I was more excited about an album coming out than seeing your name on something.
That's
Because
so cool.
it's been a few years since the last one, and
It has.
there's just so many questions I have for you because your music is intrepidly different than anywhere else in Texas, and I want to really point that out to folks today, and why it's different from my perspective as a fan of yours, and just so much more. But we are going to include probably my favorite song from that record as well as a live version. It's called "Push It Back" as part of this episode. Tell us about this song. How did it come to be?
Okay. I'll tell you exactly about it. I play sometimes. I do so less now, but I play with cover bands around Texas. Some bigger ones that play lots of big fancy parties, and it's fun, but it can be really tiring. There's lots of kind of dancing. They're long shows, very late nights. A lot of times I don't get home till 2 or 3 in the morning, and I played 3 in a row. I think I played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and on a Sunday we were headed to Fredericksburg to play Spirit is Ageless. So Josh and I were together and we were going to play that event, and Tina Wilkins puts on that event. So that's Walt's wife.
Yeah.
And it's just this beautiful event where lots of like-minded women come together, and just sharing the experience of being alive. It's really a joyful thing. And I was not feeling joyful. In fact, I was I was exhausted. I was over it. I hadn't slept well in a couple of nights. And it was one of those days where like everything is hard. Like getting dressed to go is hard. And everything felt like a real struggle. And, you know, I go through peaks and valleys in life in general. I've definitely struggled with depression, like the big capital D depression, and anxiety, like most people have. And I just was sick of it. I was sick of it trying to get me down. And I was finally doing a gig that I wanted to do, which is our original music versus like a cover band show. And I wanted to feel better. And I was in the middle of reading The War of Art by Stephen Presserfield. I always start to say The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
Completely different things.
Definitely not what I was reading. But this is the guy that wrote The Legend of Bagger Vance, and it's such a good book, and every creative needs to read it, because in it he talks about the resistance, like this thing that comes against you when you are trying to be creative or go out and do creative things, and you know, and move mountains, and all the capital R resistance that comes against you. And I think because I was reading that, and because he was personifying resistance like that, I wrote this song, Push It Back, in about 5 minutes in the car. Maybe it was 10. But it came to me very quickly and easily. And, you know, I've always been slightly in the back of my mind worried that this doesn't have the normal verse chorus thing that every song does.
Yeah.
And I was actually playing a gig before I recorded this song with Susan Gibson. It was supposed to be me and Josh and Susan Gibson, and Josh ended up getting called off somewhere else. And so I put my big girl pants on and I sang with Susan, and it was amazing. And I did that song, and she was like, you know, my favorite song of the night was Push It Back.
Yeah.
And I love that it's not in that traditional verse chorus style and format, and that you just take off into this other key and kind of tonicize C for a while, the key of C for a while. And I was looking at her like,
validation,
okay.
right?
Yeah. And, you know, it's annoying that sometimes I need that, but I definitely needed that, I think, for that song. And a lot of my songs in general are not cookie cutter at all.
Which is what makes you amazing, by the way, just so you know, as a fan. Yeah, and there's, I just got to say, this specific song is different in your catalog too, right? Because there's sass in this song. There's a sense of defiance in this song. And that's not there in some of your other stuff. Your other stuff is more joyful. It's more the other side of the coin. Like you're having the good day and you're writing about the good day. But we all have our bad days, and they're getting more and more, right? Like life is becoming more of a struggle, especially as we age, right? Like,
oh God, yeah.
Things just get more difficult. Your fingers don't work as good, or just things you took for granted aren't going well. So you like, I'd love to see this side of you, right? That sass, that defiance.
That's
Yeah, and just listening to your catalog, and that's what I meant earlier by saying intrepidly different, right? You typically write from a place of joy, and I want to really chat with you about that, especially now that you're talking about depression with a capital D. So there's probably a little bit more to unpack than I thought, which is great. But we're excited to show you guys the song. It's Push It Back. It is completely live by Kristi Grider. Y'all check it out.
Tired, I've been climbing this mountain, I've been fighting my demons, and I keep on pushing. We go in circles, walking up on a tightrope, and then here comes resistance. It starts to push. I push it back, 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 I push it back. legs are shaking. I've been running this race, and all my critics are thinking that I'll never make it. 'Cause I've been red-eyed and weary. I've been white-knuckle driving, keep my head above water. And when life starts to push, I push it back. 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 I said, hey, hey, I can breathe for a moment. Stand up and own the day. Ooh, ooh. Forgive myself for the should haves and shouldn'ts. I'm making my way out of this place. Should haves and shouldn't. I'm making my way out of this place. Yeah, I'll fight to sing another day. I push it back. I push it back. I push it back.
All right, so we are back with the one and only Kristi Grider, and we have an icebreaker question. We usually ask it first. I forgot. Terrible host. But it's, what are your favorite drinks right now? What have you been drinking?
Oh my God. I love these Central Market, which is the fancy version of HEB. It's kind of like mineral water with a teeny bit of juice in it. And so I do like I will have an alcoholic beverage every now and again, but in the last 3 or 4 years, I have dramatically cut back on drinking. And I think it's a factor of my age and that I don't sleep as well when I drink and I don't get as much done. I'm not as productive. And so we live in a world where pretty much every weekend, everyone around us is wanting to really partake and have a good time and let
they
go.
want you to as well, and they'll buy for you, and then you feel horrible when you say no or try to put it off to the side. Yeah, I know. Yep.
It's hard. It's so hard because you want to party with these people because they want to party with you so badly. But in the last few years, my trick has been to carry around these Central Market organics, like little mineral water with a little bit of juice in it, and it comes mixed that way. And I love the 4 berries. And you put a lime in that, and it looks like the perfect little cocktail. And it makes me feel like I have a drink, and I don't have to deal with the hangover and the lack of sleep and all the other things that alcohol does to me.
And then maybe people won't force it on you too because they think you already have a drink. Yeah.
And I don't think that they're necessarily trying to force it to be nefarious.
Yeah.
I think honestly that they just, they get in that party mode and they're like, party with me. Like, this is so fun. And so when I've got my own little beverage, they're like, oh, sweet, she's partying too. So
see, I'm not much of a drinker, and I always feel terrible when I say no, and I'm just like, look, I don't drink that much. It's kind of a once in a while thing for me. And like, I'll see their eyes just like, really get like disappointed in you, like almost too. So then you feel horrible.
That's so true.
Yeah.
What a weird, such a weird little ism that people, some people have, not everybody. Some people you're like, oh, I'm not really drinking tonight. And they're like, okay. And then some people you tell them that and they're like visibly sad.
Yeah,
like,
yes. Right.
And so, I mean, I guess to them it's just gonna be more fun if you drink. But I'm kind of fun otherwise.
Yeah. Give me a chance first, right?
Yeah.
I love that. So we have kind of a growing up segment here on the show. The podcast is a little different than normal shows. Like we go, I try to be very circular in how we do this. Kind of the early days kind of shows what your nowadays, why that's happened, and how we got there. So again, I've read your bio and stuff. You grew up in Kerrville, right?
I did.
So
Yeah.
you're already surrounded by music on day one, aren't you? Like Kerrville's
Oh,
a
yeah.
very
I've
happening
been going
place.
out to Kerrville Folk Fest since I was a baby, and
Yeah.
I have been going out to Lukenbach since I was young. So, yeah, on the east and the south side, or sorry, yeah, east and south side of town, I had two of Texas's greatest music festivals and venues.
Is
You
that
know.
is that how music is permeating your existence as a kid? Is kind of
You
those
know,
meccas of music, or is that family based?
so it was much more family based,
Yeah.
actually. So I grew up in church. My dad played the drums in church and sometimes the guitar, and my mom's always loved singing, and she's probably where I got my love for singing, and I got my harmonies from my dad. Harmony is like my favorite thing, and so I like to say that I've been putting the harm in harmonies for
The
you know.
harm and harmonies.
Yeah.
That's going to be the title of this episode. I love it. I'm
Yes,
writing that
the
down.
harm.
Putting the harm and harmonies.
Yeah, so I sang in church. I would play keyboard and flute sometimes. Once I hit middle school, I played flute for a couple of years. And so I would play flute just a little bit. And I loved it. Like I absolutely loved it. So that was like the genesis of singing in front of other people. But my musical influences at the house were so vast. Like my dad would pull out like a Ricky Skaggs album and we'd wear it out, and like Alison Krauss, and we'd get very bluegrass for a while, and then
Yeah.
it would be Led Zeppelin and U2. And so I like to blame my differences and my variances in my music on that, because like from one week to the next it was a totally different vibe, but we would really soak up that vibe and that record and just listen to it to where you knew every solo, every
Yeah.
harmony.
So it was a more complete experience for you. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. This world is so different now with just the releasing of singles here and
Sure.
there, because I loved the vibe of the whole album. I
Song to
loved,
song. Yeah.
yeah, I loved from top to bottom that it
Man, when we were
really,
kids, you would hear the last note of a song, and you would
and
know
no,
immediately what the first
yes,
note of the next song is.
totally,
Yeah.
totally, absolutely. I still do with certain
Sure.
records,
Me too.
you know? And so, yeah, that was something that I loved to do. Like, we just played a ton of music growing up. My dad played, and then, his family had all grown up Church of Christ, and they're big harmony singers. So we'd get together with his side of the family for Christmas, and everyone would play guitars and sing harmony. And I thought everybody could do that.
Yeah.
I thought that that was just as easy as singing. So,
So you ended up, I mean, music ended up being not just, your career, it was also an education for you.
oh, for sure.
You went to school for it in a
Hmm.
certain way. Um,
Yeah.
but as a kid, how much of that complete experience of a record or whatever it is kind of led you to that passion, do you think? Because, I mean, for me as a kid, I could take in a song and I'm not thinking about every note or every, whether it's harmony or whatever. I'm just listening
Yeah.
to it, really enjoying it. And so that kind of passion's not there for me. Do you think that's why maybe that led you to where you are now as far as a career?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, to be honest, I just knew music was something that I loved, but I didn't even know that you could study it at school. I'd never even thought that far
Right.
ahead. And I had gone to my church school for a while, like middle school and high school. And my junior year of high school, I decided to go back to the public school because I wanted to play soccer and I wanted to be in choir and do all these things that my church school didn't have. And when I got in there, I made the Texas All-State Choir. And I didn't realize at the time how hard that is to do.
Hmm.
And so as soon as you do make the Texas All-State Choir, you get brochures from all of the universities
Sure.
asking you to come and audition for their School of Music. And I remember I opened one up, I think it was like Texas Tech, the very first one that came, or it was North Texas, I think. And I just was like, you can do this for a living? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
It just didn't dawn on me that you could study that. And so as soon as I started getting those brochures, I mean, immediately I was like, well, that's it. I'm going to study music.
And where's
So,
your family at this time? Are they, because it's one of two ways that I've seen in these interviews. Either they're super supportive, no matter what you decide, they're going to be on board, or they're going to be like, no, that's not really blue collar. That's not a real job, right? You need to get a real
right,
job. So which way
right.
did your which way was your fam on that?
They were hundo p supportive.
Nice.
And I was first generation college attendee.
That's amazing.
And so that was a big deal too. So the fact that I could check both boxes, that it was like something that I loved and I really wanted to do, but also they were super proud of me. for
Win-win,
going to
right?
college. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was totally a win. So I definitely had a sense of like, I gotta do well when I get here. Like I gotta study and be a good steward of this awesome experience. So I think every day of college I was like just floating around like, I can't believe that my voice got me here. Like this
Yeah.
is insane.
That's
So
incredible
I
stuff.
loved it.
Let me ask you this. I know this is going to be really easy for you to answer, but I'm just putting this out into the world for those parents that are out there with children that may come up and want to be a singer, want to be a musician, and go to school for it. I know what your answer is going to be, but I want people to hear it. How
Yeah.
important was that support from your family to know that it was okay for you to do this as a living?
I think it was everything. I think I would not have done that because it's, you've got to write all the essays and you've got to fill out all the financial aid forms and you have to do so much to get through that process. And my mom was right there, like with me and, all right, now go write this essay, just kind of steering me through all of this stuff. And I think had I just been an 18-year-old that, thought that was cool, I don't know that I would have been as driven as I was to like write all those essays.
Mm-hmm.
And I got some great scholarships and I got some good financial aid and my parents were like, we're going to do this. We're going to do whatever it takes. So, yeah, I think I wouldn't be here today. If
And I
it
think
wasn't-
really as parents, we have to pursue what our kids want to pursue. And then if
Agreed.
they don't want to pursue that anymore, then that's something we can adjust to later, right?
Totally.
But I find that so much in this business, I find so many artists that have become artists in spite of their parents' support, right? Not, well, you need to get a real job. Well, no, I'm going to show you, right? There's so many
Totally.
stories of that. And it just hurts my feelings to even think about the incredible talent that perhaps the world has missed out on because of a lack of support, because they believed that it couldn't possibly be done. So,
Oh, it's unreal. Yeah,
yeah.
you're exactly right.
scary to think about, man.
Yeah.
Again, you're talking about being very kind of vocally based early on. So I'm assuming, based on your answers, that everything has opened up for you vocally first when it comes to music, rather than instrumentally. So I'm assuming the
Yeah.
instrumentally came later, right?
Yeah, it was really funny. I had taken piano growing up and I loved to play by ear and I was really good at playing by ear. And now that I'm a piano teacher, I know what this is and I recognize it and I've been trained to recognize it. But a lot of students that do have a really strong ear can absolutely try to fool you into believing that they're reading their music when they're not. And so my reading was terrible. My actual music reading was terrible. And so when you audition at Baylor, I auditioned vocally and I got in and I even got a little bit of a scholarship. And then as a music major, you take piano. So they go have you play
Yep.
to sort of place you where you belong. And so I played Humoresque and they were like, oh, that was so musical. It's great. That was some interesting fingering. And I was like, oh, shit, shoot. And so,
Well, you can cuss as much as you want.
oh my God. So anyway, they sat a hymn in front of me. It was Ferris Lord Jesus. It's in the key of F, has one flat. One. That's a relatively very easy key to play in. And I absolutely just botched it. It was terrible. And they put me in piano 1. And I'm so glad that they did, because first of all, that's where I met Josh. We were both kind of the by ear players.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to get our reading chops up. And we kind of bonded quickly over, he loved to play like Dave Brubeck and all kinds of stuff like that. And I loved to play like jazzy chords and stuff. So I'm super glad, because then it gave me such a better foundation in theory and reading. And I was able to build, I think, a stronger musical.
Baseline, kind of a baseline. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that that you had to be honest with yourself, right? Of where your level was, because that's a hard thing to do as human beings, right? We're being told, you're not good enough for this part over here. You need to stay here before you get there. Yeah. And we can feel attacked, right? Like we can totally feel attacked in that. So I love that you were able to deal with that honesty, and look what it brought you, not just a husband, but a great career. Good stuff. Let's talk a bit about songwriting. We talked about joy in your art earlier, which is something that I find in both of your records, other than Push It Back, which is the outlier, right? Which is great.
I think it's honest in a way that maybe, I'm always honest.
Sure.
But, a lot of times it's harder for me to show that side of myself because, I am a self-proclaimed recovering people pleaser. And so I do find that I'm like, I want to cheer everybody up. I want to make everyone happy. And so I end up cutting the songs.
It's funny. The question I have here is, the joy in your art, is that a direct result from personal experience, or is it in spite of personal experience?
Gosh, that's a great question. Probably both. Because I think sometimes you write to pull yourself out of the happiness, and sometimes
wish casting, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you are so marinated in joy that it's all you can honestly write about. And so definitely.
And we don't want to write when we're joyful, right? That's not a time that you don't need therapy when you're happy, right?
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's true.
So I love that. That's why we have millions of sad songs out there, right? And some of the greatest artists in the history of man, like, just resonate on that level so well. And then they write a happy song and everybody's just sitting there with their jaws on the floor, right? Like they don't know how to take that.
Totally. The first time I heard I Can't Make You Love Me, or the first time that I I heard the lyrics and really paid attention, I don't know, maybe I was like 12 or 13, where I just noticed it. And I was like, brokenhearted for this person, like brokenhearted for them. And I just thought, like, I know everything that person's feeling, even though I'd never been in that situation.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? That's the great thing about art. The act of making other people feel, right? And that's why songwriting, that is the number one word I always hear in every single episode, is feel.
I love that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because you are a multi-instrumentalist, and you're based in vocals, which is also an instrument. It's probably, in my opinion, the most important instrument in the delivery of a lyric, right? I feel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you play all of these other instruments, piano, guitar, you're teaching some of those instruments as well. From a place of songwriting, can you kind of describe some of the differences in writing songs on those different instruments, whether it be piano-based, guitar-based? How does that work for you?
So most of the time I write on piano, because I feel like I can just find chords. I don't have to sit and think like what chord. My knowledge of guitar chords is so much more limited to what I can do on piano.
Yeah.
And so I prefer to write on piano, and then when I take it and I play it out on guitar, I'm always apologizing, like, this sounds way better on piano.
Yeah.
But in general, I don't gig with my piano. I just take my guitar, and so actually right now, like as we speak in this time of my life, I'm trying to get better at guitar, and I'm playing with alternate tunings. And I am, I tell my students all the time, if I had had YouTube growing up, I could have done this and I could have played this. Like I had to just figure out the chords and figure it out myself. And I'm like, just the other day I went, I do have YouTube. Like right now, I could literally be getting better at guitar right now. So I finally took my own advice, and I've been YouTubing just alternate tuning videos and little bits of lead because I'm just tired of being stuck in the same chords. I'm just very elementary guitar player.
Have you
And
ever
so,
thought of just bringing a keyboard and performing out with a keyboard?
yeah, I've done it before. It's tougher than you think because you got to have one that sounds like really, really good.
Hmm.
Like by itself without all of the bells and whistles. And a lot of times you're playing these writers rounds and
It
it
doesn't. It
just
just doesn't fit.
it's just easier. And
Yeah.
again, there's that people pleaser in me that's like, I'll just do it on guitar. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, no, it's not that big of a deal. And probably like 2 or 3 years ago, the middle C on my Yamaha nice keyboard that I'd had since college started sticking, and there was like nothing I could really do about it. And I think that's what made me like stop lugging that thing to gigs because
It's like a
I was
security
like,
blanket, right? You just don't want to
totally,
replace it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
totally,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
understand. Let's talk about Josh. We're gonna have to talk about Josh. Any story with Kristi Grider has Josh in it. So,
sure.
um, I don't necessarily want to talk about Josh as a songwriter and as a singer and all that because I'm hoping to have him on the show at some point as well. But I want
Yeah.
to talk about the impact of him on you in a multifaceted way, not just as a husband, but as a songwriter, as a singer,
Yeah.
as a musician, on your vocals, on your confidence, right? All of those different things that he can either help or perhaps not help.
Right.
What's the impact on him in those ways, professionally and musically?
I think a lot of people don't necessarily believe me when I say this, but honest to God, he has always lifted me up in every way possible. Even if I played him a song that was just so elementary or really, really weird in format or whatever, he always points out the things that he likes. I can tell that he's honest with me. Like he's
Sure.
not afraid to say, like, I think it's weird that there's not a chorus, or I think it's, I'm craving to hear this type of rhyme instead of that type of rhyme there. And he's honest with me, but he's also very uplifting. And I've learned that my own issues with showing him songs, which this was more like 15, 20 years ago, were just my own insecurities. Like
Imposter
I
syndrome.
wrote,
Not good enough.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I wrote very quietly behind closed doors because he was already such an established artist. And it's hard when someone is that big already and you're like, I want to show you this,
Yeah.
little bitty thing that I'm writing. And yeah, he's the one that was like, hey, you should get up and sing that song. You should finish that song. Like I had a million unfinished songs, and he would really push me to do that and like, let's sit down and let's finish this song. And so he's been a huge supporter, but in a really balanced way. Like he doesn't lie to me. He's
Yeah.
not like everything you do is wonderful. But
It's tough when you have that love personally, right? But then you're
yeah.
both professionally doing things together. You're on the road together. You're touring together. I assume you're writing together at times, right? And
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
so like there's a professional side of things as well, and so that balance can be difficult when you know they love you personally, but perhaps you don't trust that they're telling you the truth professionally. What the reason why I wanted to ask this question is because there's dozens of videos out there of you guys performing together. You guys are completely separate artists. You're not the same kind of artist. Your genres are different. Your styles are different. The way you play is different. The way you sing is different. Everything about the two of y'all is different. But what I don't see is you stepping on his vibe and him stepping on your vibe. You guys
Yeah.
are always so in tune with each other and respectful of the other one's vibe when you're live. And that's hard to find professionally from two people, regardless if you're together personally, right? So I love that so much. I love the fact that you're able to be a solo artist when you're also doing a lot of the harmony and you're being a background singer for Josh a lot of the times.
Yeah.
I love that you're able to step out because your vibe is important too, you know?
Thank you. Thank you. I think that that's a beautiful way to put it. And I love that you see it that way. I hope everybody sees it that way. I know that there are some people that have even said, you don't need to be in the background oohing and on for him. You need to be out front. And I'm like, I am out front.
You
sometimes.
are, absolutely.
I
yeah.
really am. It's never been where he's like trying to hold me back or anything like that. I think, to be honest, he was just at a place where he was ready to put his original stuff out years before I was. And
Yeah.
that it's as simple as that, you
Yeah.
know?
It's a maturation thing. He's just ready
It is.
before you. And you
Totally.
supported him when he was ready, and now he's supporting you when you're ready.
Yeah.
And it's not the same kind of music. And I love that, right? It makes for
Yeah.
such a cool thing.
It does.
Because
Thanks.
I think there's country vibes in what you do, Kristi, but I don't consider
Mhm.
you a country artist,
Yeah, thank
right?
you. To be honest, I just said that today. I was one of my voice students was wanting to sing a song by this girl named Jenna Rain. Jenna Rain. I don't know. She was new to me, but she's very, very successful and popular. And I said, I was listening to the song, and I said, this reminds me of my own kind of music, because it's like, for a second there you think it's kind of country and folky, but then it's
Yep.
not. It's kind of
Yep.
poppy, and then it's got
Poppy.
these
Yep.
cool weird chords. And the girl was like, we say the same thing about your music at home, like Kristi Grider and Jenna Rain. And I was like, well, that's cool. Like, that's really, I'm glad um, that's an obvious thing to people, because I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to pass off my music as country. I think anything
See, I get
Americana.
more of in spite of country rather than pass off as country.
Totally.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I love country. It's just not always the way that I write.
It's
not
not
the way
entirely
that
who
I
you
sing.
are either, right?
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And sometimes it does come out, and when it does, it's gonna be because it feels authentic.
Organic. Yep. It's supposed to
Yeah,
be that way. Yep.
totally, absolutely.
It's kind of the way you look
So-
at a river, right? The river's going to flow where it's supposed to flow. And there's
It
going to be
is.
obstacles in the way, and there's going to be all kinds of things trying to get it to flow in a different way, but the river
Yeah.
is always going to go where it wants to go, and that's the way the song is too. The song is going to go where it wants to go. And
That's
you can
beautiful.
yeah, you can put anything in the way of it that you want, but it ain't going to matter, because the
Yeah.
song's going to end up the way it's supposed to be. And that leads me to my next question, which is honesty in art, which I feel like is a huge part of who you are. Not just in your songwriting, but your vocals. You have this way of just knowing the best way to make a listener believe what you're singing. And I feel like that's
Wow.
really important in delivering a lyric. I'm curious if there's a strategy from you as an artist and as a songwriter in portraying that honesty and really making sure that believability is put out there to your listener.
To be honest, coming up as a trained singer and as a trained singer at Baylor, sometimes, and for a long time, I feel like I performed to perform. And the first time that I was in a vocal booth that I got some really good direction, I was big pregnant with Evan. So this was 12 years ago. I was cutting a song with Josh called Skin and Bone. And it's very, very personal song. It's a very vulnerable song. And I was kind of performing it, right? And Trent Willman was producing it. And he stopped me and pulled me out. And he was like, I know this is hard with all these people in the studio, but what if I got them all out of here and you just said these words to Josh? And he had me actually speak them into the microphone. And he was like, now put the music behind those words. And from that moment on, I completely changed the way that I recorded my vocals, because you can never go back after discovering that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm super grateful for that moment, because it changed the way I sing. And luckily that happened before I recorded my own records. And so every day that I record, I think of that. I think of that moment where he's like, you're performing, you're kind of like, the words are not coming through. And he was like, let's just speak through this. And it felt awkward and cringy. But the more I did it, the more I got what he was trying to say. So I do that every time I record. I try to just speak through it. Like, how would I tell these lyrics to a friend and then sing it? So thank you for saying
yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's incredible stuff. Kind of the nuts and bolts, right, of the delivery. Man, it hurts me so much that people take for granted vocals as an instrument, right? So, like,
Agreed.
I always try to make when I find and have or I have a really phenomenal singer on the show, like yourself. Recently, we had Andy K. Joyner on the show. I have her in the same level as yourself, as just a very timeless singer, an incredible harmony singer. Both of y'all. Probably the two best harmony singers in Texas. I'll just throw that out there, I think. And I love the fact that you have your solo stuff too, right? So when I said earlier in this podcast how excited I was to see your name on a record this year, even I was upset it was just an EP. I'll keep it real. Okay. In fact, I have it right here in my notes. The only thing wrong with All Right is it's too short in big letters.
I love it. I'll take that critique all day.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
we need more, first of all.
Okay. All right. You know, to be honest, you know, Josh really got excited about doing that whole EP kind of like with this particular band, and we did it at the finishing school in Austin, and I would not change anything. Like every single person that played on that record made it what it is. Like it's so vibey and cool because of each individual that was on there. But I also realized at the end of the day, we could sit down, just Josh and me, and acoustically record a duet. Like we've been singing this one song live for years and years, and everyone's like, when are you going to put this out? And we're like, okay, let's crunch numbers and let's think about when we would hire a band and how much that would be and where we would cut it. And I was like, what if we just like did it raw and dirty and just cut it in the office, because he has a studio and it's wonderful, and just sang it in there and you produced it. So
and that's how people are getting it anyway, right? That's how they're getting it live, so why not give it to them? It's the same vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think people really dislike it when they've heard a song live
When
a
it's
million
produced
times,
up.
and then they hear it like recorded and they're like, whoa, this is a totally different song. Like this is not
Too much
what
polish, man. Too much
Yeah.
polish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be recording a lot more, and maybe we'll do kind of what a lot of the artists do nowadays,
Waterfalling.
which is single. And what that does, from what I understand, is it generates traffic to your.
It refreshes the
online.
algorithm, is what it does.
It does.
Right?
It does. And I hate the game, but I also like. I
Don't you
want
hate it
not.
when you hate the game, but you understand why the game is the way it is?
Totally.
Yeah,
Like,
that
I
sucks.
And really, it just means more repetitions. Like, let's get some more songs out there, and let's do more. And so that's actually, that's on the agenda.
But it's
That's our
hard. It's
next-
hard to do that. Like it's called waterfalling. What you're talking about, the single after single after single. And what I worry about is that waterfalling is going to mean more watered down. That's what I'm worried about.
Oh, that's a great thought. That's
Yeah,
so
because
true.
we're getting single after single after single, and like when you and I were kids, right? A record had 3 singles, maybe 4, right?
Right.
And then
Right.
you and I were just in love with the obscure song, the album track, right? And because you never heard it on the radio, you knew you had to get the actual full record to hear it. And now you don't have that anymore. Now it's just single after single after single, and everybody has a single, and everybody's releasing a single next week, and or whatever it is. It's that DIY of it too. Like the word single used to mean something to people, right?
Yeah,
Now
you're right.
it used to be very important, and now it's just another word. Like what?
Yeah.
We need to have something that's important again, like the word single, and we don't have it
You know,
anymore.
man,
Yeah.
that is so true. I never even thought about that, and I love what you said about it watering down. The impact of the music.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because
that's-
it's like you said
that's-
earlier when you were talking to your students about, having to go to YouTube to learn something. None of the kids that are younger than us ever had to go to a record store and actually sing out a song so we could figure out who the artist was, right? We would hear a song on the radio, we wouldn't know who it was because we didn't want to wait the 45 minutes until the next commercial break where they would tell who the artists were for the last 45 minutes. So we would have to go to a record store and say, yeah, it went like this, da 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 da, or whatever, and it had this lyric in there. Now we just go to Google and type in 4 lyrics and we have it.
Oh yeah.
But back in the day, we had to go to a record store to figure out who it was, or call the radio station, which I've done a million times as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Things are
crazy.
changing. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. I get it. Talking about being harmony, being a background singer, being a peripheral piece, but also now being, obviously you have your solo work as well. What is the challenges between those, right? Because I imagine there are some habits that you have as a background piece or a peripheral piece where you're trying to make somebody else better that you kind of have to leave there, right? When you're now the focal point, the brand name, whatever. Some of those habits have to go away. Can you kind of describe that?
Yeah, I mean, I really, really like to try to blend down to the microtone with somebody. And so when I sing along with Josh, it's different than when I sing with like Walt and Tina. It's different than when I sing with like Courtney or Kelly McWee. Everybody sings on a different part of the pitch. And some people are real central on it. And some people tend to be a little bit sing on the higher end of the pitch or a teeny bit sharp, and some on the lower end of the pitch. And it works for their voice, and it works for the way that they create their vowels, and it works for their vibe. And I love, like, my favorite thing is like finding exactly where on the pitch they sing everything and really matching with them. And when there's nobody there to do that, I'm like, oh crap. Like, I'm the only one, and this is just got to be me. I do have moments of like identity crisis when I sing, like, how do I sing this song? And I think that just comes with repetitions. It comes like naturally. But when you record a song that you haven't gigged very often, which happened a lot on my first EP, I feel like I was vocally just like trying out different things, and it's not great for that homogenous sound that people do like their artists to have. So yeah, I would say that's the biggest challenge. It has been just like finding who I am as the solo artist, as the main voice in a song, versus just, finding exactly where Josh
and you actually like the challenge of harmony more than you do kind of being out there. I love that. Let me ask you this, because man, you're just feeding me so much with the questions. Listening to your EP, I can't tell you exactly what song it was, but it's more than one of them. I'm almost positive you're singing harmony for yourself, right?
Oh yeah. I'm all I can afford.
Yeah. So what's the is that a different challenge in and of itself? Because I imagine you know where your solo voice sits, right? Or are you making it sit somewhere different to fit in the harmony?
I don't think about it when I'm singing it, but when I am doing the harmony, like when I'm singing the lead, I'm not like, where do I sit on the
So you're
pitch?
waiting for the result, and then you decide where the harmony fits in. That's incredible.
Totally, absolutely. And a lot of times I will have these weird ideas for harmonies, and Josh is like, okay, and then once he hears all 3 of them together, he's like, oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I first start doing them, he's like, ooh, that, like, is that a bad pitch? And I'm like, no, wait, it's going to make sense when all of them are together. And, it'll be just a nice kind of contrasting note for
I love this so much, man. This is so cool. Such a cool way of putting things and how you see it, right? It's just really neat. Let me ask you this. Just I got kind of a couple more before we get into some fun segments I think you have fun with. I wanted to talk to you about teaching music, because I feel like this is going to be multifaceted too, right? You're educated yourself, right? So you've been taught music from Baylor, and then you have this world of experience since then, right? 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is. Now you're teaching students below you. The question is, how much are you teaching them from your own education, and how much are you teaching them from what you've learned since then?
That is a great question. So I love answering this because I haven't talked a lot about this, but at Baylor, at least, back in the fall of 98, which is when I went, and
Okay.
that kind of tells you how old I am. It was
See, I left you an out there. I left you an out there. I said, whatever it is, 10 years, 20 years. See, so don't get on me. I didn't ask her age.
I kind of don't mind. I don't know. I'm getting to this age where I'm kind of like, don't care anymore.
I understand.
What people think about my age.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like this is the one genre of music or the one place you can live and be a musician and people don't really care. In fact, the older you are,
The
they're
better.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. But at Baylor, it was very, very classical and very legit singing. And so if you were not doing classical or opera or art songs or song cycles,
Whole bunch of structure, right?
Yes. Tons of structure, tons of rules. At least in the School of Music where I was, it was kind of looked down upon. Even when we would do these all university sings, all the sororities and fraternities would do these 6 or 7 minute mini musicals. And I remember I was asked to sing River Deep Mountain High by Tina Turner. And I just sang it like she sang it. Like that's kind of how I just kind of modeled my voice after her. And in the School of Music, I was just another soprano in a sea of sopranos. But all of a sudden, after all universities sing, I was like walking through campus and people were like, Tina, and calling me Tina Turner. And I thought that was so cool. And I realized it is not poo-poo to sing pop music. It is not poo-poo to sing musicals or country or anything other than what the School of Music was saying was the only thing I should be caring about. But for some reason in the School of Music, it was highly frowned upon to sing anything that was not classical and legit. So now I have all of these voice students, and of course they're wanting to learn songs by Miranda Lambert and K-pop songs and all these different things. And so I believe that there are general great rules of thumb that everyone should follow to have a natural, healthy way of singing. But then, yes, I believe it is 100% okay to make it sound poppy or to make it sound, there used to be all kinds of no-nos that you were not allowed to dip up to a note like, ooh, anything like that. And now it's all over. It's in every pop song. And it's what is popular. And so I think it's funny that I was taught like that's a no-no and this is a no-no and glottal attacks are a no-no. And that's when you go, when you sing you, that's a glottal attack. And there's like whole Taylor Swift songs with like, tons of glottal attacks. So I think it's just funny that.
Isn't it funny how that musical rebellion out there is so successful and so... yeah. You know what? You talk about all this structure, and earlier we talked about a lack of structure in the song we showed earlier, "Push It Back," and how that really resonated with, by the way, a frickin' phenomenal songwriter in Susan Gibson, who, by the way, also is well known for not following a structure in song.
You're right.
Yeah. So you get that validation with that song. And then you said in the middle of the interview that Josh was a little bit further than you with his maturation process musically and artistically. How much is that education feeding your imposter syndrome? Where, you know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to, like the word "supposed to" is probably a lot on your mind until Susan Gibson comes along and says, "No, you don't have to. Like this is cool either way," right?
Yeah, in a way, I hate that.
I guess the question is, did it hold you back? Did it hold you back?
I mean, yes. Honestly, to be honest, yes, it held me back. I hate that it's true that I did need these little green lights from. I've had them from Walt. I've had them from Walt and Tina. I've had them from Susan. These little like, oh hell yeah, that's.
Cool. I know how encouraging Trent Willman is too, so I'm sure he was in there somewhere too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I said, he totally affected the way I think about recording now. And even like Bri Bagwell, I've been like jumping up and singing harmonies with her so much, and she has just the kindest things to say about my music. And I'm like, I just see her as so prolific and so
No bigger
classic
encourager of
country.
the yeah.
Yes, but a huge encourager. And so yes, while I wish I didn't need it, yes, I needed those green lights, and I'm so grateful for every single one that I've gotten.
And every single one of those green lights, and no matter how many of them you get, you're still going to try to talk yourself out of them.
Yeah,
And
sometimes.
yeah, and that
Sometimes.
sucks
Yeah.
so bad, man. I hate that.
I know,
Right? Yeah.
I know. It's crazy. It's like there are certain things that you know, my sister is an artist and she's really great, and she years and years and years ago, before anyone was kind of doing the you know, the hoop, like how in like kind of mountain music and in real country music, people would kind of do almost these cowboy calls, like
Yep.
you know how cowboys used to.
Sierra Farrell's
Hoop.
big on them right now. Yeah, she uses
Yes,
that. Yeah.
and she was doing that 6, 8, 10 years ago in her songs, but because she was like, that's just how they sound. And
Yeah,
that's
and she
just,
didn't
like,
stop either. And
And
people were
she
yeah.
never stopped. But she's the type that has never once asked permission for anything.
And that's why she's amazing. Yeah.
she is. That's why she's
Yeah.
amazing. You're exactly right.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so, you know, the first time I kind of heard that in mainstream music, I was like, my sister's been doing that for 10 years. You know? So that's just funny.
Well,
But yeah,
I mean, the reason why I wanted to talk to you is because you're just super talented. I love the new EP. Again, I want to talk a little bit about it before we get into the kind of the cookie cutter stuff at the end that everybody likes. But again, the EP is called All Right. It was released, I think, June or July, right?
All Right was actually released last December 13th, but it was a it was kind of a quiet release.
Okay.
I had like the most beautiful little release party here in New Braunfels. There's a backyard concert series that Rod and Sandy Mueller do, and they held an album release and a listening for me. And they do this for a lot of their favorite artists, where you sit with all of your group, your audience, and you share a meal, and it's amazing, and then you listen to your album and then talk about it. So it's not necessarily that you're
That's
performing
incredible.
it live.
What a great format.
It's cool because you're
Yeah.
able to go, okay, like hear that harmony right there, that's 16 takes, that's 16 different
Wow.
or whatever, and you can tell people that they
So
wouldn't
cool.
have ordinarily known, you know.
Yeah. So I got
So
two
that
questions. I love the Monkey song. Maybe we'll talk about that a different time, but I love that. I totally love that song. But I want to talk about tracks 3 and 4. We've already talked about 2. First, let's go to track 3, which is Let It All Go. This is like the 60s vibe. Like
Yeah.
like the doo-wop, malt shop. Like, where is this
Totally.
coming from, Kristi? Like,
You
it's
know-
2025.
I don't know. And it's really funny because when I wrote it, and I just write it on acoustic guitar, it definitely didn't have that vibe until we got into the studio, and David Jimenez is the guitar player, and he found this color and this tone on his guitar that just made it so doo-wop.
Yeah.
And everybody in there like, oh, this is it. Like this, it wasn't necessarily, it's not necessarily how it sounds live, although I do have to say it has affected the way I play it live. I play it more doo-wop now.
Yeah. See, that song, like, it's got the Meghan Trainor
Right?
vibe where, like, she's been doing that doo-wop, like, return to doo-wop, and other people have tried to do that and replicate what Meghan has done and have failed repeatedly.
Right.
Over and over again. This is not a failure in that. That song
Oh.
is incredible. Now, man, I can't wait to talk about track 4. This is a cover, a well-known cover. Everybody knows this song. You're a phenomenal songwriter. You are married to a phenomenal songwriter. And you chose a cover for the record, and you only have
Yeah.
5 spots to put on there. So this song must mean a giant amount to you, right? So why did you choose it?
It does. I had been, any chance that I could gig with a piano, I had been gigging it, and I would get every single time, I would get like people crying and like, I don't know why, but when you do this song, it really means a lot to me. And to me, it fit the vibe of the other things that I was writing for this EP or choosing for this EP. And so I was talking to Josh about it, and it was between that one and another one called Something Back Then, which is another song I'd written. I have not recorded yet, but it'll probably be in the next batch.
So it was just about fit. It fit better than one of your songs, essentially.
It fit. The vibe of it fit better. It really did. It just, to me, the whole message of that EP is kind of like I am going through a spiritual enlightenment of sorts, or evolvement of sorts. And so that was just kind of right there in with it. I felt like it fit, and I didn't want to discount it just because I didn't write it.
I love that. Yeah, good stuff. Man, because you know what? A lot of songwriters, you have a very finite amount of space on a record, and records are very expensive as well, as you and I both know. So when you have the budget for 5 spots, you know, typically you're going to put the 5 things that mean the most to you in those spots. So when I saw a cover there, knowing the other 4 songs and the vibe of those songs, I was like, I know she has more songs written than just 4, right? So so I wanted to know, and I now I'm going to go back and listen to it in a vibe standpoint and see how it fits, because that makes sense to me.
One of those, it just kind of, it was something that meant a lot to me, and this is what's hard about recording an album, is it's songs that mean a lot to you at a certain snapshot in time.
And you have to put some back. You have to disrespect some of them, right?
Yeah, you do. And then you kind of evolve past them a little bit, but then you put the record out and you have to gig the songs, and you're like, I've written all these other different songs that mean a lot more to me now.
And now you're not in that spot anymore. You're not in that place. Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah, Josh is like, oh, you haven't done All Right yet, or you haven't done Let It All Go yet at a gig. And I'm like, I'm over that song. He's like, these people want to hear it. Like, they just bought your album.
Yeah, you got to sell your EP, Kristi. Come on now.
I'm just kind of like figuring that out, that like you have to promote your record that you put out. Like, I don't know, these things.
That just means you're a future-facing person. That's all. You're looking forward.
I guess so. And I've been in these songwriting groups that help you to be much more prolific by giving you a song prompt.
Yep.
I think the first one I was in was Bri Bagwell's. And I just think she's so phenomenal as a songwriter and as a person. And she really, for me, got the ball rolling on me writing even when I wasn't inspired to write. And some of the prompts would come in and be so weird. Like one of them was ask the monkey what he knows. And
there it is.
It's what's strange is like, I'm like, this is weird. And then 20 minutes later, I'm bawling writing this song. And it's amazing what these prompts that, you know, seem to mean nothing end up really meaning to you. And unlocking for you.
It's all about strengthening that songwriting muscle, right? It's like working out at the gym. I love it. And Bri is, I mean, there's no bigger person in my eyes as far as an inspirational standpoint in our scene than Bri Bagwell. It's just second to none. I hope you watch this, Bri. No doubt, you are second to none. Biggest encourager in our scene, no doubt. The things she does, just having her pod, and I told her this on X the other day, just her making the time for her podcast to go out, which is called Only Vans. You guys check that out. Kristi's been on that as well. You all go check that out. But just having the time, finding the time to do that. I do this. This is like what I do, and it takes so much time to do this, right? And for her to have a complete career of, you know, on the road, touring and all that, and still finding time to do a podcast and shining a light on artists like herself when she could just easily do her own thing. I mean, it's just such an inspiration to me. And
it is, me too. Yeah, she's such a hard worker, and I think when really, really natural talent and hard work come together, that's when you get
agreed.
Yeah,
and she's a star, right? And out of all the stars that I know, she acts the least like a star when you meet her.
Totally, she's the most down to earth, lovable, kind, hilarious person.
Incredible.
So, yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I've got so many cool stories about Bri that, like,
Yeah.
she showed support in me and my show before she even knew who I was.
That's so
Yeah, we had our very first interview was done at a studio in Bullard, Texas, and she was doing a show in Lindale that day, and she was going to come in, and she was coming from Houston, so she was going to come in, do the interview, and then go to Lindale. We were kind of on the way, right? So. We're nobody we're just a small independent podcast. We're not this huge thing or anything, not terrestrial radio, nothing like that. And but she scheduled this with us in person, which was huge too, right? Because she could have just been like, yeah, we'll do a phone call. It would have been easier for her. But then to come to find out, she had a choice later on to continue doing my podcast, or to go to a terrestrial radio station in that area that wanted to talk to her on the way to Lindale as well. And she could have been on radio promoting that show with a legendary radio, host, and it wouldn't have worked for her to do both, and she still kept to the schedule for us.
That is awesome.
And
that
so
is
I've never forgotten that,
Yep.
9 years later or whatever. That's the kind of person that Bri Bagwell is.
100%.
Yeah.
That doesn't shock me at all. Like,
Yeah.
so much integrity.
So
Yeah.
just huge, and I've interviewed her probably 4 times since then. She's always so forthcoming. Anyway, let's get into the having fun segments with Kristi. We've gone a little off the rails, which is what happens on this show, and that's okay.
That's fine.
This is why we podcast, guys. This conversation right here with Kristi. We have learned so much from her. I hope you guys, if you are artists and you're watching, take a lot of this stuff because, man, we've learned so much. But let's do this. These are little, like, fun segments I put out on TikTok and stuff. I think you'll have fun with them. The first one's called Did You Know? Can you tell us something that folks may not know about Kristi Grider?
Oh, goodness. Did you know? Oh, here's a random one. My blood type is O negative, and so is Josh's, and so are both of my boys. And some people believe that only alien people are O negative.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Next one is called Mount Rushmore. As you know, the real Mount Rushmore has 4 presidents. Some say the best presidents in our history. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of most influential artists to you? So the 4 most influential artists to you.
Oh, the 4? I get to say 4?
Yep.
Okay. Patty Griffin. Robert Earl Keen. Just because of a specific album that we wore out at my parents' house growing up that kind of got me thinking about lyrics in such a different way.
Back when you researched the records, right?
Yeah, back when you read the liner notes and
I'm that guy today still. Like, thank God for Wikipedia, and they list all of that stuff on there today.
Yeah. This is going to be random, but Chris Thiele, he is the mandolin player from the Punch Brothers,
Okay.
and he was Nickel Creek, which is a bluegrass band with Sarah Watkins and Sean Watkins that Alison Krauss produced. And
Super nice guy, Sean Watkins, by the way.
Oh, do you know Sean?
I've
That's
met
so
him
cool.
once. Yeah.
I just absolutely love.
You got one more.
Oh, okay. Crap. One more. Oh my God, this is hard. Okay, my new obsession, Emily King.
Okay.
She is just my new muse. I'm obsessed with her. I went and saw her in Austin, and I was like, why is there not a line out the door? Doesn't everybody know how amazing she is?
Doesn't that hurt
And
your
I
feelings so much?
I was right up front, man.
Oh.
I was right up there. I got to meet her afterward, and I think she is so talented, and I believe she is going to be so huge.
Talk
so,
about genre fluid, that girl, right?
right?
Yeah.
Yes. So there you go.
Yeah.
I literally went from Patty Griffin, very Americana, to Robert Earl, and then Chris Thiele, who is a very progressive bluegrass, to Emily King, who is kind of jazzy, poppy.
Everything else, R&B, yeah.
Gosh, she is so phenomenal. And her song, Georgia, come back, Georgia, come back. So gorgeous. It is so gorgeous.
Good list. All right, next one's called What the Heck. This is 5 rapid fire questions. And
Okay.
you're not allowed to change your answers. So the way this works is these questions are designed to put an image into your head. And that's what you tell us. Don't change the answer in your head, okay? All right, I'm just going to pick random from my list of 50 here. Number 1, what are you the most afraid of?
The dark.
Okay. Number 2, which celebrity annoys you the most?
Kim Kardashian.
Why is that
sorry.
always the answer?
I'm sorry. It's her voice. It's the whiny. I love you, Kim. Like,
That's so often the answer. It's so funny. All right.
is it really? That's
It
weird.
is.
I mean,
It's
she's
like
her nail. Her
4 or
voice
5 times, yeah. All right, number 3. If 4 out of 5 people suffer from diarrhea, does that mean that the 5th person enjoys it?
Oh. No, it means they don't have diarrhea. They have wonderfully regular, normal bowel movements.
I don't feel like that's even possible. All right. Number 4. Let's see here. What is your weirdest talent?
I guess whistling. And I know that's not that weird, but like I really whistle a lot and I whistle in harmony and I can do the thing where you put your voice behind the whistle and do like that sort of
Are you able to like harmonize whistles?
No, I can't do that because whatever I'm humming, I guess is in the whistle. I guess maybe I could. I'll play with it.
All right. Next record. All right, last one, number 5. You have to picture this now, okay?
Okay.
If a penguin walked into your room right now wearing a sombrero,
Okay.
why is he there and what is he doing?
Clearly it would be that like Drew Kennedy is playing a joke on Josh. Because he leaves like for some reason every single year he leaves a little 6-pack of little Miller Lite ponies on our porch and takes one, and it's like this tradition because neither one of them like Miller Lite, but it's like this funny little like sort of little jokes that they play on each other. So I would think maybe he was trying to get a rise out of Josh.
Yeah, Drew's in on it somehow. I gotcha.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
does not shock me at all. I haven't interviewed Drew. What a great guy he is. Dude.
Yeah, he's awesome.
All right, next segment is called One Artist. I have a feeling who we're going with here. Who is one artist you wish the whole world knew about?
Oh, it's Emily.
Yeah.
It's Emily. I love her. I literally everywhere I go, I tell people like, have you listened to Emily King? You need to listen to her because it is beyond me why she is not as well known as I thought she was.
Yeah.
So, but her fan base grows every day. Her talent speaks for itself.
So that's the person that it actually hurts your feelings that they're not more famous than they are.
Truly. Yeah. Like
For me, that's Jess
watched it.
Woodland, by the way. Jess Woodland, who is phenomenal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I will look that up.
Yeah.
I will look her up. Yeah, I went and saw Emily at the O4 Center in Austin, and I remember getting there and being like, I can't believe I got parking, like in the regular parking lot, and went in and there was like not a lot. It did end up filling up. It's not like she undersold at all. Like she sold. People know who she is. But it just wasn't the pandemonium that I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And so in a way, it didn't hurt my feelings that she's not as big as I thought, because then I got to have a pretty cool experience.
And that's the balance, right? You have to figure these folks out before everybody else does. Because then when everybody else figures it out, then like for me, like Sierra Farrell is now opening for Jelly Roll and Post Malone. What are the chances I'm getting tickets to that, right? Like that's not happening, right?
Right.
But there's girls like Maggie Antone and Willow Avalon who are, I believe, going to be just as big. That you need to be jumping on that bandwagon if you want to see them before they're opening for Jelly Roll and Post Malone and costing $1,500 a ticket.
Agreed.
I don't know if I'll ever get to see Sierra just based on that, but yeah.
Wow.
All right, next segment is called Fly on the Wall. This is kind of a new one. In all of history, this can be music related or not, completely up to you.
Okay.
Which room in history would you have liked to have been a fly on the wall in?
Oh my God. Ooh, there's two. Two that come to mind.
Yeah, name them both. Yeah.
Okay. Musically, at the end of Beethoven's life, when he was like 94% deaf or something. He had sawed the legs of a grand piano off, sawed the legs off, and the body of the piano laid on the floor. And he composed every single note of his Ninth Symphony, his last symphony, which is the Freude, schöne Goethe, Funken, that one,
Yeah.
with quill and ink, one note at a time, by pounding out the notes on that piano with his ear to the floor. So that,
Wow. Okay. So
because there are days that like I can't finish a song because I have a headache, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, let's let's pump the brakes. Let's think about Beethoven.
Beethoven. Yeah.
And then, I like maybe like the Council of Nicaea, whenever they decided what books went into the Bible, because you hear all these stories about these books that didn't make the cut. And I'm so fascinated by those. Like, I want to know what those are. And they
The
talk
unknown
about
gospels, right?
the unknown gospels and the Nag Hammadi scriptures and the Book of Enoch, and apparently Mary Magdalene has a book. And I don't know. I want to know what those are too. I want the whole.
I think we should be able to
thing.
know what those are anyway, right? Like, why don't we?
Yeah, why don't we?
Yeah.
So I guess because they've been so suppressed, I'm highly interested in them.
Very fascinated
Yeah.
why, right? Yeah, that's been something I've thought about too. All right,
Yeah.
next segment is called Biggest Lesson. What is the biggest lesson you've learned directly from music?
Oh, God, that's a good one. That the voices in my head telling me that nobody cares about this is an absolute lie. And
Here I am.
yes, an absolute lie. Because I truly believe, and this is kind of more of spiritual belief, but that we're all supposed to be creating, and this just happens to be my avenue. And if I'm not doing that, then I am depriving someone of some sort of musical experience. And I know that sounds narcissistic, but we're coming from a massive, massive self-critiquer and self-critic that that what I have to say is important. And that's hard for me to say, but that's probably it. That's what I've learned the most from music.
Do you try to convince yourself that anything music related is not productive?
Not anymore. I think for a long time I did, because I got a job as a teacher in Austin ISD, because back then, like, Josh's band was just kind of starting out, and it was just hard. Money was very, very, very hard to come by back in those days. And so it felt like there was real jobs, and then there was the music job. And so it's now every day is music for both of us. But I still teach students, and that's not to say that I'm holding on to feeling like just performing music is not a real job. But to be honest, it's just that work has always come to me, and that door has always been knocked on. And I feel like if I'm not answering it, then I'm missing some sort of calling, even if it's piano lessons to like grubby little kids. I love them.
Well,
And
that's
I
growth,
love it.
Christy. That's growth, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Good
100%.
stuff. All right, next one's called Moment of Gravity. I only got 3 more, so thank you for doing all of these with me.
I love these. You're so interesting. This is unlike any interview I've ever done.
That's
It's really fun.
that's the point. I want to be different. All right, so this is called Moment of Gravity. This is something I come up with. It's kind of a self-reflective thing. We talked earlier about this interview being very circular, and this is where we come home. So the moment of gravity is something that occurred in your life, whether it's music-based or not. That's completely up to you. But there's a moment somewhere in your existence that kind of led you on the path to where you ended up now. Can you kind of look back and see what that moment was?
Yeah. I think it was the first time that I got that pamphlet in the mail that was like, you made all-state choir, come audition at University of North Texas. And I went, like, this can be a thing that you study. And I think that's what it was, because I don't know that I would have studied that or pursued that. And I don't know, it just blew my mind open that you can like get that down and deep into music that you can spend a whole 4.5 years studying nothing but that. And also that's where I met Josh. And I feel like in a weird way, he gave me that, not permission. I hate to use that word because it sounds like
validation.
Yeah, validation to like really get my songs out there, because I think I would have written no matter what.
That's why I asked you earlier about the change in confidence that perhaps Josh might have helped Kristi with over time, right? And I always wonder, as a human being, just to look back at what that moment was. What would life have been like if that moment hadn't have happened? For you, there's no Josh. Your kids may have been different. There might not have been any music. You could have been a soccer player. You just don't know. Like, do you ever look back and think of what could have been different?
You know what's crazy is I did get offered. They were just starting a women's soccer team at Shriner University in Kerrville. And they said, they came to the whole varsity team there at Tybee, and they said, of you graduating seniors, all of you are offered a full ride, 4 years to Shriner University if you play soccer there. And at that point, I had already committed to Baylor, and I knew that that's where I was going. And I mean, yeah, it's funny that you said that.
Very close, right? So yeah, and that was in the same season, right? The same season of your life. Incredible stuff. I love life in the way that it can just kind of prepare us for things and take things away that perhaps we weren't ready for, right?
Totally.
The next segment's called Grateful. What are the 3 things you think you're the most grateful for?
Oh, my babies, my husband, and music. Like, I know, gosh, that's so cliche, but it's so
not.
true.
It's not. I mean, maybe cliche I don't think is the right word. I think humans tend to really gravitate towards the same things, right? The things that love us back, right? And your kids love you back, your husband loves you back, and music loves you back. So
It does.
Yep. So I feel like we're always grateful for the things that are grateful for us, right?
I agreed.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Last one, and this could be the hardest one for you to answer. The segment is called "Who Do You Think You Are?" Who is Kristi Grider?
I am a seeker. I am a seeker of truth. I know I sound silly.
No,
but,
not at all.
I am a seeker of truth, and I'm a recovering people pleaser. So it's like the yin and the yang. Like, I'm shifting from just wanting to have the right answers and have, be a teacher's pet and make everyone feel safe and happy, to like the truth of every situation and what makes us tick, and what our purpose is here. And I think I'm just a big seeker. Every day I go on about an hour-long walk with my dog Scout, and I listen to near-death experience podcasts.
Okay.
And it's so fun and interesting. And it just, to me, it is like, I don't know, it's so fun to hear the differences, like to hear all the different accounts, and then also to hear like the same themes that you start picking up on patterns and themes, and it's just cool. And I just think sometimes that, this whole life is just more than what we see.
Again, very circular. You talk about being a seeker. We started this interview with you seeking out everything you could possibly learn about a record before you went to another record. So clearly something embedded in you very, very early on. And it's so cool how everything ends up how it's supposed to, and how we're taught. And sometimes that can be a good thing. Sometimes that can be a bad thing. And we have to learn over the course of our lives to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff, right? What's meant to be good and what's meant to be bad.
100%.
Because we all have toxicity in our background too, right?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What makes us strong, though, sometimes.
Yep. Absolutely. Kristi, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this. This was really fun. Thank you for having me.
Hi, everybody. This is Becky Hobbs, the Beckaroo, and thanks so much for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.